refresh it and see. We shall see. There we go. That shows. Okay. Let me make sure chat's on. Let me make sure all the things are working. Because this, my husband just watched everything just shut off and turn back on and nothing stayed. So give me 1 second. That's why I always go live a couple minutes early. Allow you guys to come on in. Okay, where are we? Content. Live. Are you going to refresh? Okay, that refreshed. It says we're streaming. And let me check the Facebook side of things. You see it on Facebook?
Yeah, you're on.
Okay. I was looking at a different. Let me refresh. Refresh. There we go. Okay. So, hi and welcome to my page where today we're going to be mastering bow making. Because there's so many of you that commented to the little poll that I put out there and I said, so what is your biggest challenge making a bow? Is it picking out your ribbons? Is it mastering balance? Is it coming up with the right size? What is your biggest pain point? And a lot of you said all of them. Some of you said, you know, you hand-picked specific things like, you know, picking ribbons, knowing when is enough, too much. And so we're going to cover that today. And I will also, I'm looking at like a way to put out a handout to you guys for like simple bow making tips. So I've got to figure out a way to get that to you, or just have you go to like my page and download it. I'm going to see if that's an option, because then you can just go to the thing and then click download and download the info sheet, like a little cheat sheet guide. Because cheat sheets are like, I take notes like crazy in everything. So in order to get started, if you want to save a copy of this tutorial, and you're on YouTube, click the save button. If you're on Facebook, just click the share button or the arrow, and then that will do a copy paste from my page to yours. From there, you can download the tutorial from your Facebook page. Just make sure you do it within the next 30 days or the tutorial will be gone off of your Facebook page. What else? Notifications. If you are on YouTube and you want to get notified when I go live, just make sure you've subscribed. You might be coming here to watch the tutorials and you may not even recognize that you're not even a subscriber. So if you can just click the subscription bell or subscribe, that helps me out huge in the world of YouTube. YouTube likes to see people subscribing, commenting, sharing, saving, all of the things, just like all the other social media sites do. If you're on Facebook, just make sure you've liked the page and you turn your notifications on, which is under those three little dots, the ellipses. Click on that and it'll give you, I think, 3 or 4 different options for setting up your notifications. I'll let you guys pick how you want to go ahead and do that. If you are also interested, I do have the Ultimate Bow Making series, which features all the handouts for all the videos that I have put together on everything from top mistakes, how to do hand-tied bow, all 3 different bow makers using bows in all of them, taking the same bow recipe and doing it on all 3 to show you how that bow turns out on all 3. But I think it's like, for me, it's the handouts, because those are the things that I can take with me when I want to either go shopping for bows and just little tips that kind of help you with mastering the bow making process. Also, if you'd like to join the private group, it is currently open. It's at KatsCreationsNMore.com. Do you want to type that and pin it? I think it's already pinned. Is it not, Steve? Hi, Vivian. Where about in Washington are you? I think we've done that a couple times when I've seen you here before. It is currently raining now. I think that says it's supposed to do that all through tomorrow. So we've got another all wet soaking system that's hitting us. Hi, Joanne. Okay, everything is there. All right, so bow making. It is the one thing that will hold you back as a wreath maker, because if you struggle to make a bow, or if you try to master bow making and it doesn't work out, you'll oftentimes omit putting a bow on a design. I did that initially for a long period of time because people were making these gorgeous bows and I sucked, honestly. I could do a basic, but not like the stuff that I'm like pulling out now. Like people said, we want you to show us how to do simple bows that like we can add to the outside of our home this year, especially with patriotic and the 250th anniversary. Things that we can add to floral arrangements, like simple little bows like that. So I thought today we would tackle mastering a simple bow. So, and then I'm going to show you how you can adapt that technique to pull off something very similar to this one, just using the same simple technique and then varying that. And that is without a bow maker. So no bow maker today. I'm going to walk you through it just the way that I learned and all the tools that I had to make it easy. Now keep in mind that when I started my journey, I did get the Bowdabra because it was like the cheapest bow maker that was out there. I think you could get it virtually everywhere. So that became like my go-to, and everyone's going to have their go-to. They're going to like prefer one over the other. And it's not to say that one has considerable advantages over the other. It's initially going to be whatever you feel comfortable with. And when it comes to choosing colors and materials and patterns, there is no hard and fast rule that says you have to do it this way. It's subjective, just like art. If it feels good to you, then go ahead and go with that combination. Somebody else might look at that and go, I'm not loving that combination. But if it's something that you want to put together on a wreath design, then go ahead and go for that. I would strongly recommend that you use wired ribbon. Wired ribbon makes a difference to a bow maker or someone just starting out, because when you go and shape your loops or shape your tails, it's going to hold that shape until either you pull on it or you bump it, and then you'll have to just refluff it. So I'm going to go ahead and pivot you down, and we're going to do everything old-fashioned, old-school way. So I really, really want you guys to try this and let me know if it works, if you've ever struggled with bow making. Okay, pivoting you down to the work surface. You don't even need a cutting mat like this. You could just do this on your regular kitchen counter. The things that you will need to have handy will be a pair of scissors. I always say buy a cheap pair. Do I have a cheap pair out here? I'm like, where'd my cheapy scissors go? Can you look under? Oh, wait a minute. I might have it in here. In my big kit. Yes, I do. Cheapy scissors. So, like Dollar Tree. Dollar Tree is the best place. If you go into their kitchen section, they used to have Betty Crocker ones. Now they're just no-name brand. But you'll notice they're the white scissors with the red. And these are great to use to cut all of your ribbon with, because if you have a really nice pair of ribbon, or scissors, or really nice pair of scissors, cutting that wired ribbon that is in our ribbon, which is generally sewn into the edges. Sometimes it's sewn into the middle, but repetitive cutting of thick wire is going to dull your scissors very quickly. What is it? It used to be $1. It might be $1.50 now. Get yourself like 2 or 3 of these. These lasted me for years before I moved up to ones that are so sharp they just allow me to be like just cut all my ribbon at once and be done. Here's my pen. Okay, so nice pair of scissors, cheap pair of scissors, okay? Everyone's got a pair of scissors at least. Then what I'm going to suggest is either a measuring tape or a ruler, okay? Just something so you can get your measurements down pat. It's different if you're doing like a funky bow where you're not really keeping track of the measurements. You just kind of go with what you want to feel, which is great. But for today's, we're going to go with simple tools. A pair of scissors, a ruler or measuring tape, and something to hold your ribbons with. It could be a clothespin. It could be a binder or a chip clip. Here's our binder clip. Just something that when I show you the basic bow, using these techniques will allow you to make, this would be like, let's say they're all the same. All you have is clothespins. So you would have enough clothespins to make a wide variety of different kinds of ribbons using the same technique. And then I'm going to show you how we're going to stack them and turn out a perfect bow. Also, most people have in their kitchen, and if you guys can give me a shout out, do you guys have a cutting board in your kitchen of some sort? It doesn't have to be an overly big cutting board, as long as it's at least 12 inches, like a 12 by 12, that'd be awesome. If you want to go something bigger, then by all means you could do that. For the longest time, we had the ones that pull out from your counter, and so they were fairly wide. I think they're about 24 inches wide and maybe a little bit longer. Those are going to be helpful for you to fluff your board or fluff your bow, but not necessary. Okay, so these are them. So first step is finding the ribbon. A lot of you say, I have an issue with how do I pick the ribbon colors? Okay, well, we're working on patriotic with this class, so anything red, white, and blue works. But you might say, well, but how much? Like, can I do multiple patterns? Can I do multiple colors? Well, let's just pull the basics, like red. Do we have white? I think I have a crane. Ooh, that one's a different one. So here's red, white, and blue. Let's just do that. And I have this in a 50 yard just because solids I use a lot of. Because most people, when you get into wreath making, you're going to want all the pretties. But don't forego the basics of a solid. So we're going to focus our first bow on just the 3 basics. So it's nice to have all the pretties, and we'll get into the pretties. But I want to just show you mastering the simple red, white, blue. Can't go wrong with that, right? There we go. You can kind of see those now. Red, white, and blue. Okay, so you have to decide before you build your bow, what color do you want on top? What is it that you want to see when you look at the bow? Do you want it to be like red, white, and blue? Do you want it to be red at the bottom and then white in the middle and blue on top? That's going to be up to you. A lot of times I'll always say too that he's going to wander. Can you help him wander on out? Okay. So a lot of times our signs will give us clues. So I'm just going to find a really basic red, white, and blue one. Let me pull this. Okay. So here's red, white, and blue. So these colors, red, white, and blue, that would work. And then we can get into some other things your sign will tell you if you're not whole, like 100% sold on what you want to do. So, Tanya says I use them daily. Okay. Hi, Georgiana. Hi, Andrea. Okay. Hi, Shirley from Virginia. Okay, so let's say we're going to go with the typical colors. We want red on top, white in the middle, and blue at the bottom. So let's start with our blue. Okay. Yes, because I'm trying to think, do I want to do the blue? Okay. So, like I said, wired ribbon is going to make a difference. It allows you to do things with your ribbon that regular unwired ribbon isn't going to do. It helps you hold the shape. Okay. This is 1.5 inches. Ribbon generally comes in, used to only come in, was it 4 or 3 different lengths? It used to come in 4, 2.5, and 1.5 inches. And now there's everything under the sun in between. So most of the ones that we're going to be working with today are going to be the 1.5 and 2.5 because that's what we generally will use. We will always start with a finished edge. You have the option. You can leave it just a straight cut. Most people like to see it have something fancy on the end. So you could do something like just a slant cut, just like these, where you just kind of go at it from an angle. It just looks nicer. It looks like you took the time and finished the look. So that's the difference. Sometimes you can tell by looking at a bow is looking at the ends. If it has a finished edge, like a cut edge, it means generally that it probably was not a, what do you call it? I'm trying to think of the term. That this is a different set of a handmade bow. Somebody who just leaves it like this, it's a very unfinished look. So that to me is like an unfinished bow. It doesn't look very professional. Okay, so slant edge, you can also do what's called a dovetail, a fishtail, a ducktail. Am I missing anything? Bird tail, a V-tail, whatever. So old school ways, we did it like this. We would cut into the center, and then we would try to do it from the other side and hopefully hit it in the middle. But more times than not, we always went too far. It wasn't exactly even on both sides. So the easiest way to do this now, will change your gift wrapping forever, is to take your wired edges and bring them together like a fold. And then from that folded side to the end, where the wired point comes to an end, is always going to be your end point, always your destination, where you finish. So wherever you want to start, some people do just a bare little dovetail. That's fine. Nothing wrong with that. Some people like to go pretty deep, like so. The higher up I keep coming on that dovetail point, always leaving the destination of it the same. I mean, I can go pretty deep, just like that. And we have a very finished look. It's a very flawless, finished look. Super simple. So that is called a dovetail or a ducktail or a fishtail or a V shape. So on this particular bow, we are going to use our ruler, and I have this set up on inches. And what I'm going to do is take my ribbon. I'm going to lay this out, and right here at 7 inches, I want you to gather, which just means pinch it together. So just pinch it, okay? Then what I want you to do is what's in my right hand, I'm going to transfer to my left hand, and I'm going to take that all the way back to that finish line, right at the very beginning. Then what I want you to do is measure out another 7 inches and gather, just like this. Now I want you to make your hands come together like a little inchworm, just like this. Okay, we're going to join the two together. I'm going to transfer from my right to my left, and I'll put a little twist in it, okay, so that I can bring this all the way back to the beginning. Measure out 7 inches. Again, inchworm it. We're going to pass it off, so it's going to come towards the back. Okay, I'm going to transfer it, and then I'm going to twist it. Can't really tell on this side because this particular ribbon is the same on both sides, but I'm going to take that all the way back to the beginning, and I'm going to cut right here at 7 inches, just like that. And now I'm like, oh, well, how do I dovetail cut this with this in my hand? This is why they made bow makers. But you can just use a clothespin. You can use a chip clip. It's just going to hold your bow exactly the way your hands were. And then it allows you to go ahead and do your dovetail cut just like that. Nice and pretty. Everything looks nice and good. You're like, ooh, success. I did my very first one. And then you're like, okay, now what? Well, you're going to need something to secure it to. So you can either use a zip tie. You can use floral wire. You can use a pipe cleaner. You can use, can I reach this? Let me see.
You want me to get it?
Yeah, can you hand me the twine that's up in that green basket?
Yep.
Or you can use string. Whatever you have handy. I probably wouldn't recommend tape. No, the twine. It's like on, you might have to stand on the step stool because it's like in a big ball. I told you. Let me have just an end. I'll just take an end. Okay. So I'll just take one of these at Steve House, or a piece of string, a shoelace. I'm like trying to think of like, what else can you think of to secure this together on a somewhat permanent basis? There's, like I said, everyone uses something different. I'm trying to think of like, what would I have used back before? Fishing line would be a good example. Can you think of anything else? If you didn't have, well, rope would be a little too big. Thin. It could be ribbon. You could use like a small little thing of ribbon, like this, like just some ribbon, something, anything like this would work. You might have it left over from your scrapbook kit and you're like, oh, I never thought of that before. Yeah, whatever you have. So what we want to do is we want to secure what we have clipped right here. I'm just going to use a zip tie for now. I normally use pipe cleaners. Now, whatever you're going to use to secure, if we're just making this simple blue bow and you want to add it to a planter, a floral arrangement, whatever, you've got to figure out a way of how am I going to attach this into my floral arrangement or something. We can go ahead and secure it, but we need a way to attach it. So whether you're going to attach it to a stick or a piece of wire later, or you're going to just tie it on, you might want to consider that when you're securing your bow. So for here, I'm just going to go ahead and do the easy little zip tie. I want to get my zip tie end to come to the back. Oop, there we go. And we're just going to zip tie it just like so. I'm going to make sure my loops are the same, because sometimes when I go to put my zip tie in, they're not exactly perfect match, but you know, from here, look, that looks like a really good bow. And the great thing about this is you can just run that through your finger and get a nice little swoopy curl going on. You can have tails go a little longer, and the more that you run your fingers through, you can kind of put those little nice little swishy curls in them, whatever your fancy. The loops are going to stay open because they're wired, and so you've got a really super good bow. This you can add on to the end. I was looking for something with a handle on it. I don't really have anything. Yes, I do. I'll think about it. Something with a handle. Something with a handle. Something like this. So this is just like a little bucket. If I was going to do a floral arrangement in there, you might want to take this and go ahead and secure this onto the edge. This is what I'm saying. A simple bow like this could be perfect for. You can take it, add a pipe cleaner to it. You could add a floral pick, a small little wooden floral pick. You can push it into your styrofoam arrangements. Those are like super simple ideas for how to master that. So that was our first one, right? Not too hard. I would challenge you to try this. And there's no harm in saying, oh, I dropped it and now it's all messed up. No, just start over. So just do your 7, 7, 7, gather at your 7, transfer, go to your 7 again, gather, inchworm, twist, start back at your beginning. So I have my left hand back at the beginning, come right here to 7. I'm going to inchworm it, right? Going towards the center with a twist. Okay. So on this one, tick that off. Let's do this one with 8 pipe cleaner, just so that I can undo them and take them apart pretty quick. So just super simple. Even a pipe cleaner like this allows me to attach this onto the handle. It allows me to twist it all the way down and push that into styrofoam if I needed to. It also allows you to make whatever adjustments you want to your loops, but all in all, it's the easiest bow that you can make with no bow maker and just a roll of wired ribbon. And you can pick this up at Hobby Lobby, Walmart. Always look for the word wired. If you're not sure, go underneath your plastic, like if there's plastic right here, go underneath the plastic and pull the ribbon out and just do a simple test. Like just loop it and see if it holds its shape. If it holds its shape, it's wired, even though it may not say that. Okay, so we've got one down, right? You're like, that was super simple. I can do that. I'm ready to go on to the next one, right? Oh, great. Tanya says, I've seen people staple it. Absolutely. If that's all you have, you can definitely go with the staple method. I did not think about that. Okay, so we've got our blue. Now let's go with white. And we're just going to do the same thing. Most ribbons, when you buy them, are like folded over the end. You can take a small iron and iron that out. I don't have time right now to do that, but we're going to do the same method. We're going to dovetail our end, okay? And we're just going to do that 7, 7, 7. So right at the 7, gather. Inchworm it all the way to the end. Measure out your other 7, gather, inchworm with a twist. Go back to your start line, measure out 7 inches, gather, inchworm. I am just transferring that over. Go all the way back to the beginning. Cut that right at the 7-inch mark. I'm going to use my other pipe cleaner that I have handy here. Okay, so I have 1. We're going to dovetail that end. Here's 2. Okay, so I've got 1. I've got 2. We're going to go ahead and make another one. We'll use the red, same method. Okay, let's get rid of those. Missed that one. Dovetail end. I always do this at the very beginning and the very end of every ribbon I pick up so that I don't forget. If you start with good habits, you'll get into that groove to where you won't forget either. 7 inches in, move it down, 7 inches again, let it inchworm, hand off, twist. I'm just twisting it towards me, okay? Back all the way to the end of my ruler, 7 inches again. I'm going to gather, inchworm, with a twist. And then I'm going to bring that all the way back 7 inches one more time. Grab another pipe cleaner. There we go. Just so we can put these together. Super simple. You guys can do that. You're going to finish off your dovetail edge because we couldn't do that while holding everything. So we have 1, 2, 3. All super simple, right? You're like, well, that's great. How am I going to put them all together? Super simple. If we want red on top, we're going to start with red on top. Then we're going to put blue on the bottom. And then decide what you want to use to put those all together. I can use my last little pipe cleaner, twist them all together. Okay. If we're going to put this into something that faces, it's going to be at the top of something and it's going to hang down, pull all your tails down. Just really super pretty. Bring them all the way down. Now let your tails hang there. I'm going to take all my pipe cleaners and just pull them to the back so I can hold the bow. And then you're just going to start fluffing your ribbons. You can decide what you want where. The rule of thumb when you're looking at a ribbon is you should see all of your colors present. You should never look at a bow and not be able to see one of the colors that you're using. Here, you should be able to see red, white, blue, and then we have our tails. From here, you can just roll those. The closer you get to the center, the more they'll like little swoop down. You might say, well, that looks weird. They're all the same length. Well, guess what? You as the designer can make those executive choices. You could say this one, since it's on top, I want it to be a little bit shorter. Great. Cut it a little bit shorter. Not sure where to end that? Bring the one over to the other. Know where you're going to end both of those. We can bring these down a little bit. We can also bring our white in just a little less. Like I'm barely taking off anything. So this way, if I hold it, we can have one inside the other, inside the other. And just like that, believe it or not, you have just mastered your very first bow doing nothing but following a formula without a bow maker and holding it in your hand. So here we have our blue, our red, our white, all the way through. All 6 loops. We can see them all 6 tails. And then just depending upon what you want to use it on, you can go ahead and add this to your, like I have topiary trees with finials at the top. So I would take something like this and put this, just twist this to the top of my finial. I might let my tails go a little bit longer. And that's a choice that you have. Remember, you have the formula, that 777 formula, just to make a super simple, what do you call it? Red, white, and blue bow. Because at least you know red, white, and blue goes together, right? Then you might say to yourself, well, but there's all these pretty colors, right? But I don't want to overdo it. I don't want to get so overwhelmed. So a really good rule of thumb for like just doing something like this, a 3-ribbon bow, is pick one solid. There we go. So one solid, one pattern, and what we call like one accent. So like a pattern bow would be something like, let me pull something here. Okay. So this would be like a pattern. So let me move those off like this, that just has red, white, and blue all put together. It's wired all the way through. Okay. We could go with that. That would be like a pattern. This would be a pattern, just like big dots on blue. You could also go little dots on red, or you could even do red stars. Okay, so we're going to look at these and pick something from a pattern. So a solid, a pattern, and then an accent. So something that would be like, what would an accent? These are an accent. So it's kind of got a little of them combined. Something like this, where you have wavy stars and stripes. You have stars and stripes. You have stars and stripes. Or just something simple like an American flag. So, rule of thumb, pick one from each group. Now, I have a tendency of looking at colors. So if I'm going with a navy with my blue, I'm going to stick with navy all the way through. So in this example, if I'm choosing to use that royal blue, I'm not going to pair it with my navy blue and then try to like mix it with like something like this, because then that's like way off. They don't even like match. So in something like this, I'm going to stick with a basic like red, right? Red is easy to pick because we know what red looks like. We know what white looks like. So we could pick red, and then we're going to pick something with, I'm going to take these out of the equation. And then we're going to pick something with an accent. So I like this because this gives me a blend of all three. So I'm going to move these because I don't want to pick red again. And then from here, I'm going to pick something that kind of falls within this color palette. Actually, all of them but this could technically go, because these have the royal blue stars. This has the royal blue stars in here. This even has the royal blue stars. From here, it's just going to be your preference. What do you like best? So out of these, it might be difficult. And so let's look at some things that a sign can potentially do for you to help. So I'm going to take this one, which is, I'll take it out of its package, to show you that there's hints in everything. So you might say, well, yeah, but I want to make the bow. We're all going to design around the sign or ribbon choice. It's just going to be that simple. Ooh, why does this one have to be so challenging? This one's like sealed on there. Okay, so here we have a lot of visual cues, right? Let me get rid of this light. A lot of visual cues here. We have stars, so we can find blue with stars. We can find a red and white stripe. We can do a brighter, or like a whiter stripe. This one has fewer stars, but you can see that there's a ton of different options. We have the red, white, and blue. This is not a navy. This is a royal blue. So we can pick anything that kind of falls along that line. With this particular sign, we can do something like, we can go here, and that kind of all plays to that with the stars and the stripes. We can go here because we've got stripes and we've got the same white stars on a blue field. This one's a little bit different. We have the white, but it's like an opposite. We have a white background, blue stars, and then white and red stripes. I think I'm going to lean into this combo for now. And I'm going to show you, we're going to make the exact same ribbon, but with a variation. So when I am making a bow, and I'm looking at these three being my choice, I will always make my most accented bow the top. What I see when I'm looking down at a bow, I want to see this first. This can be like my background, this can be an accent, or this can be in between. Like I could put this at the back and let that be my order. You guys see this all the time whenever I'm making a design. I will always sit when it's bow making time and sit here and go, actually kind of, that one works. Or we can even do that. I like just twisting the red so the red matches red. And then we have that there. I'm like looking at this one. I'm hoping I have enough that we can stretch this one in. So let's go with that. I think I should have enough. So we're going to dovetail. And since this is going to be my bottom, this is my variation. Like with any good recipe, you can use chocolate chip cookie dough recipe and substitute chocolate chips for peanut butter cup or peanut butter cups or peanut butter chips or dark chocolate chips, or you can choose to not go with a white flour. You could choose to go with a brownie mix. It still makes the same cookie, but we're adding a variation. So here, I'm going to add a variation of 9 inches. So I'm going to do the exact same bow, but everything's going to be 9s. So, and it's at the bottom. Okay, here's 9 inches. Hoping that I have enough. I'm going to go another 9. We're going to gather inchworm with a twist, stretching it out 9 inches. We're going to gather inchworm with a twist. Bring all that back out here. We're going to cut that right at 9. Try to eyeball it. Okay. I'm going to get, I'm just going to use pipe cleaners because it's so much easier. And you can get these at Hobby Lobby. I think it's 140 pipe cleaners for like $4 or $5.99. Yeah. And every so often they'll have them on sale. And you can get a really good deal on those. I didn't twist this one as tight as I should have. Let me undo that. Okay. So I tried to get a good tight twist on there. And we've got really big loopy loops. That's fine. I'm going to come back. Dovetail this again. Remember, wired edges together. Cut. Fold to wired point. Okay. I won't worry about fluffing this one yet. That one's done. Let's put our red in our middle. So we did 9 inches on this. I'm going to go down an inch every single time. So this is going to be 8 inches. So 8, 8, 8, and 8. So 8 inches, gather, stretch it over, go another 8 inches, let it inchworm, transfer from my right to my left, twist, measure out another 8 inches, gather, should be inchworm, hand it off. I'm always doing it to the back, and then twist. Oop. And then we're going 8. Right there. Another little pipe cleaner. I always feel like I never get it in the right spot. Okay. Did our dovetail. So we'll set that one aside. Move this over here. Move that over there. Here's our red with our tail. Here's our red, white, and blue. Okay. And now we're going to do our stars and stripes. These are all from Craft Outlet, by the way. So if you go to craftoutlet.com, it's my favorite place to buy most of my stuff. 1, because their quality is great. 2, I don't get anything from them at all. It'd be nice if they had an affiliate program, but they don't. But they still have the best prices. They're super quick on their shipping. And they have the lowest minimum, which means that if you order $69, you get free shipping after that, which is huge. Free shipping after that, I'm like, let me find out a few other things that I need to order at the same time. So here, 7 inches in, transfer from right to left, measure out 7, gather, inchworm, twist, measure here, 7 inches, gather, inchworm, twist. Now I'm bringing it back up to the front for my last 7 right in between. Okay, let's cut this one in half. Here we go. Trying to make sure I always like look at my loops and make sure I'm like, am I right in the middle? Okay, so dovetail the other side. So this is our small. In other words, like small, medium, and large, right? From here, we could stack. We're going to go one on top of the other. And on top of this one, just like so. Okay? I have all my pipe cleaners hanging here, so I'm going to try to move them all to the back if I can. Let me just move them all up so that this way I can grab them all. So, yes. Right? Yes. Just like that. Okay? All of our tails. Make sure all of our tails are down in front. I don't want to like put any of our tails on the other side. Okay, from here, I could zip tie them all together. I just like working with pipe cleaners because, of course, I'm using larger pipe cleaners. But I've got them all together. Okay, downward bow. Bring all your tails down. That's what most of us are going to be making anyway. Everything down. Okay, there's that one. Let's bring that one up front. Same thing. Now it's all about fluffing. So I'm going to leave my tails here. We're going to ignore those. And we're just going to play. Just kind of look at where do you like everything to be. You can make them all matchy-matchy, which means bring the same colored loops up in the same locations, or you can pair it differently and say from here, maybe I want to bring my red up. I'm trying to hold it. My red up with this one down here. It just causes visual interest because it's different because we moved it down instead of left it up. Again, is this right versus wrong? It's entirely up to you. You are the designer. You decide what works. From here, we're just going to do the same thing. We're going to put some fluffs into our ribbons. You're just going to draw them through your fingers, just like this. Okay, nice and smooth. Right here, we can even get a little fancy and put a little curl into that. Just a little spiral curl. Just gonna let them curl and do whatever they want. I have that one over here. I'm trying to keep them all flat so you can see all the tails being displayed in all the things. But look, you just mastered a 3-ribbon bow, doing nothing but working with that simple hand-tied method. And now you can add this to anything you want. You can add this to your sign. You know, we can put a gorgeous, here we go. I'm trying to do this at the bottom. We can add that to our sign and add that to our wreath. And now you have successfully mastered a bow. You can bring it up to the top and just change out where you want your tails to lay because it is a wired bow. You just move your tails where you want them to be. You can change where you want your ribbon loops to be so that it falls in accordance to what your design as a designer, where you want it to be. What do you want it to do? There's nothing that says you have to have super long tails. I have people who cut their tails so that they end right where their loops do. Nothing wrong with that at all. It just depends. Do you want to have tails that you can see? Do you want everything to be to where like maybe I can move some of my tails around? And you can even do that in our design just by looking at where everything's laying. I can move things around so that I can put a little bit of something everywhere and have my tails in a different place from my loops. There's nothing that says that you have to sit in one particular order or a knot. It's up to you. And having something like this allows you the flexibility. Once you understand the theory, you can just move it or vary the recipe and make it work for you. And you can do this at any point. They don't have to be really long tails. Like you don't have to have a 9, an 8, and a 7. You could choose to go 10 but with shorter loops. It's just whatever you do when you're making your bow, just make sure that if you're going to start with your tails at the same length, like if you're going to do, I don't know, 8-inch tails, but maybe only 3-inch loops, meaning if you want your loops, if I laid this out on a ruler like this, my loops, these are 3.5, which is exactly what a 7 does. 3.5 one way, 3.5 going back the other way. So that's how I got 7 inches. So this is a 3.5 loop. This is a 4-inch loop. And this is a, what do we do? 4.5-inch loop. So just vary whatever you want. Once you have the technique down, which is, oh, I wish somebody would have shown me this at the very beginning, because it would have at least made me feel worthy enough that I could pull this off. And if you wanted to, you can use 5 ribbons, you can use 6 ribbons, you can use 7 ribbons, just the same technique, and just stack them. Because that's what happens when we're using our bow makers. We're just stacking the ribbons, whether we're using the Bowdabra, whether we're using the Easy Bow Maker, whether we're using the Pro Bow, we're just stacking ribbons and varying the lengths of tails and loops. That's all it is. What else can I tell you? Like I said, most of you said that you have a challenge with picking your, picking what ribbons to use. So, like I said, if you're doing a 3-ribbon bow, pick 1 solid, 1 accent, or something with a simple pattern, and then, what did I call it? 1 solid, 1 pattern, 1 accent. So accent is whatever you want to see first. It's that ooh-ah that you loved when you initially decided you were going to buy that ribbon. You bought it for a reason. I'll give you the pins for those. If we wanted to do a 5 ribbon, this is what it would look like. Let's use this as our example, and we can go with 2 solids. So remember, our solids were our blue. Can I have a pin? So I can just pin that. Thank you, Steve. We can go blue and we can go red. So we can do 2 solids because I'm pulling from the sign color palette. I'm going to pick 2 patterns. So I'm going to go with, remember, these were our patterns, or the striped, which I had here. So I can choose to go here, and I'm going to go with stars on this one. Okay. And then we had our statement ribbon. So I can pull this one in, and I've got it all set up. This is my 5 ribbon combo. I could also choose to put this one in, and that still works. I can choose to put this one in. It all works. In all honesty, you could technically put them all in. It's just going to cause the eye to travel in a multitude of different places. Keeping it simple for the customer just makes the process so much easier for them to know exactly what to look at. And then we can hide the pipe cleaner thing. A really super simple shortcut for something like that. Let's do a contrast. I'm going to borrow from my red, and I'm going to take a small little piece. I'm trying to figure out like how can I like officially master tying a knot. I'm just going to, this is 8 inches. So I'm just going to fold this in half. Kind of like a little strip. And I'm going to bring that right into the center. And I'm going to flip this over. And we're going to just tie this in a knot. And it doesn't have to be like the standard knot. It could just be like one super simple one like that. I like using a contrasting one because, again, visual interest draws the eyes right towards the center. It's like, ooh, that's different. I wouldn't have thought to use red there. And here we are again with all of the things. So that's how you can hide. You can also use twine if you're going rustic, and you can just wrap your twine all the way around there. You could do the twine here if we were doing something a little bit more rustic, and just kind of wrap our twine in there if we're going with a little bit of a rustic approach to our bow, just like that, to help hide the pipe cleaner. Super simple things like that, hiding your pipe cleaner, or even there's sometimes that you don't need to hide your pipe cleaner at all. That white was fine. It matched everything that's in my ribbon combo. Just to elevate it to another level, just kind of adding something to it. Whether we did a ribbon or, let me saw this. You can add something simple, like a lot of people take a nice little embellishment, like a little styrofoam star. You could glue that right to the center of your bow. That helps hide all your mechanics or your cosmetics. We could have done it here. I probably would have gone with a white star because it looks better. And these little, we call them scatters and fillers. You can get these from Dollar Tree. You can also get them from Hobby Lobby. So something like this, I'd probably lean into with something that's a little bit more of a contrast there. So we could do the blue, or we could go with a white, just so that it gave greater, a greater look. So super simple things that you can do to master bow making. And I honestly and truly want you guys to feel comfortable that you can do this. Look, I made all of these with no bow maker. I did it with a ruler, some pipe cleaners, some wired ribbon. You could do it with your chip clips to hold everything until you get them all in place. And then just hold them all in your hand. Stack, stack, stack. Zip tie. Figure out where are you going to put this. What other questions do you guys have? I'm kind of like looking at my notes. We can also do something where we don't have to, like if we really wanted to overemphasize something like this, we could just easily pair that with these two. And what it does is it instantly elevates this ribbon. It doesn't matter where I put it, it just makes this one pop more. It wouldn't matter if I did it with, did you put the cream away? Mm-hmm. Oh. Let me grab that one. I should have got it smaller. This doesn't really look because it's white and not cream, but any of them would be fine with that particular pattern. Let me show you a challenge that I saw in one of the signs I pulled. I think it was this one. I think it was this one. This one just was like, let me pull this out of the bag. Oops. So this one's kind of a busy sign. And the reason why I'm picking signs is because generally we form our wreath design based on a sign that we saw, or like I said, a ribbon that we've seen. But however, in this one, there's an awful lot going on. So you have to figure out when you're doing your design, do you want the focus on the bow or do you want the focus on the sign? If your focus is on the bow, then just kind of go with what I've taught you here. On here, there's, like I said, there's some hints, but follow the basic formula. Pick one solid, and I know you're probably cringing going, but I hate solids. For the longest time, so did I, until I realized that solids could balance the look. It's not so much your eye going everywhere like it is on the sign. It's just toning down the look and saying, okay, let's calm ourselves for a moment. Here's where I think the navy or the royal would work too. But just even adding something like this royal blue, it just really emphasizes the look rather than taking red on red. This kind of creates a soothing approach. Then we can pair this with, like, we have the red with the stars, okay? Everything here is giving you hints, but follow your formula. One solid, one pattern, right? Continuous pattern, and then one, what we call accent. So it could be like this. We could pair it with. We could, again, go here because we've got that kind of going on down here. We have this going on. Looks fine. We might even come in and go like, you might even challenge yourself and be like, ooh, I kind of want to mix these up a bit and maybe kind of do this color pattern choice. So I always try to alternate something that's not as busy with something that isn't. If you can't find a color in solid, Swiss dot or gingham is the way to go. For the longest time, I had I never wanted solids, so I always went with Swiss dot. Swiss dot is even fine for that. It's your pattern ribbon. It's a repetitive pattern going through there. What other questions do you guys have? So I will try to find a way to put these formulas into a download for you so you can just come to the either the description box or come to my Facebook post. If I can find a way to just include the document and then you just go in and download the PDF, we can do it like that. But you always want to make sure on your bows, 3 questions to ask yourself: does your bow look full? So on this one, absolutely it does. I can see everything. Does your bows look balanced? Which means you don't have to have everything like red on red and then this here and then this is the next one. You can mix and match them, but just make sure that what you use can be seen. And then finally, can you see all the colors? Obviously, if I had this on something, I would make sure that you could see all the different colors of everything coming through, because it would all be on a wreath to be displayed. You see them all? Thank you. Okay, I hope that this has been helpful to you. I really want to hear back from those of you that struggle with making a bow and try this method and tell me if it works for you, because I really wish someone would have explained this technique to me, because it would have at least given me the confidence I needed to just pull off something simple. And then, like I said, you can go bigger and just vary your lengths of your tails and your loops. Just keep them all consistent, and then move yourself up to a bow maker so that you don't have to, like, as you're individually making each bow, you're twisting and tying, you're just putting them all and stacking them in the bow maker. because that's all this is doing. It allows me to put all those colors in without having to tie them off first and then stack them. It just holds them all together. That's what they all do. Okay. Well, thank you guys for joining.